How many times have you promised yourself that tomorrow would be different, that you'd finally wake up early, get ahead, start that project, learn that skill? You've set the alarm for 4 a.m., filled with determination, only to silence it at dawn and drift back into the comfortable darkness of sleep. By the time you wake at your usual hour, the guilt settles in like a heavy blanket. You've heard the stories about successful people and their morning routines. You've seen the videos, read the articles, maybe even tried implementing the strategies once or twice, or perhaps a dozen times. But life got in the way. Your bed was too comfortable. Your body was too tired. Your mind was too foggy. You've convinced yourself with a simple phrase that feels like truth. I'm just not wired for mornings. Some people are larks, some are owls. I need my rest to function. But what if everything you believe about mornings is wrong? What if the hours before sunrise don't just set the tone for your day, but actually determine the entire trajectory of your life? What if I could show you that one woman's transformation from complete desperation to extraordinary success began not with a lucky break, not with an inheritance, not with connections, but with a single decision to reclaim the hours before dawn? This is the true account of a woman who lost everything until the early morning became her weapon of transformation. Stay with me through this entire story, because buried within it might be the exact blueprint you need to finally break free from the cycle of wishing and waiting. This could be the moment everything changes for you. In a bustling coastal city where the streets never truly slept, there existed a 28-year-old woman named Maria. She worked the graveyard shift at a 24-hour convenience store, clocking in at 10 p.m. and finishing at 6 a.m. 6 nights per week. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead as she scanned items, restocked shelves, and served the parade of night workers, insomniacs, and early risers who passed through the automatic doors. Her paycheck barely covered her expenses. Maria lived in a cramped studio apartment on the 4th floor of a building without an elevator. The paint peeled from the walls. The pipes clanged when anyone in the building used water. A single window looked out onto a brick wall. Her furniture consisted of a futon, a plastic table, a folding chair, and a microwave that sparked when she used it too long. Her wardrobe fit into 2 garbage bags. Her shoes were held together with tape. But the poverty that weighed heaviest on Maria wasn't material. It was the suffocating feeling of being completely stuck. Each morning, as she walked home through streets that were just beginning to stir with life, she would observe the world through a film of exhaustion and despair. Joggers passed her going the opposite direction, starting their days with energy and purpose. Coffee shops opened their doors, filling the air with the aroma of fresh brew and possibility. People in business attire emerged from their homes, briefcases in hand, heading toward careers that actually led somewhere. And Maria would ask herself the same devastating question. Is this all my life will ever be? Or will I always be the person walking home exhausted while everyone else begins their day full of hope? She had attempted to change her circumstances repeatedly. She filled out applications for positions that offered more than minimum wage. But her incomplete college education closed every door. She wanted to finish her degree, but after working through the night, her brain felt like static. She would return to her apartment around 6:30 a.m., collapse onto her futon, and sleep until 4 or 5 p.m., waking just in time to prepare for another shift. The cycle was relentless. Her father, who lived 3 hours away in a small town, called her every Sunday afternoon. Mia, when will things improve for you? I'm not getting younger. I want to see you thriving before I'm gone. Maria would inject false optimism into her responses. Soon, Papa. Very soon. I'm working on making changes. But the truth was, she had no plan, no path, no idea how to escape. What haunted Maria most deeply was the knowledge that she wasn't afraid of hard work. Every shift, she was on her feet for 8 solid hours, dealing with difficult customers, cleaning, organizing, protecting the store. She gave her employer everything she had, but hard work in a dead-end situation only led to more dead ends. And each morning, as she returned to her apartment to sleep away the daylight hours until late afternoon, she felt like she was living in reverse. The world progressed while she existed in the shadows. A single thought echoed in her mind during quiet moments at the register. There must be a different way to live. There must be something I'm missing. But what could it be? In one freezing morning in late January, Maria's phone vibrated in her pocket just as her shift ended. The screen showed her brother's name, unusual for 6 a.m. She answered immediately. "Maria, it's Papa. He had a heart attack. He's stable now, but you need to come." The world tilted. Maria grabbed the first available bus, heading toward her hometown. A journey that would take nearly 4 hours. She sat by the window, watching the sun rise over unfamiliar landscapes, her heart pounding with fear and regret. When had she last visited him? 2 months? 3? At the regional hospital, she found her father in a recovery room, pale but awake. The cardiologist explained that stress and poor lifestyle habits had damaged his heart. He needed lifestyle changes, better medication, closer monitoring, all of which required money they didn't have. Her father gripped her hand with surprising strength. "Maria, listen to me. I don't have many years remaining. I've wasted my life working jobs that went nowhere. And now look at me. I'm begging you. Don't repeat my mistakes. Find your way out. Promise me you'll find a way." Maria sat with him long after he drifted into medicated sleep. She studied his weathered face, the face of a man who had worked construction jobs for 40 years and had nothing to show for it except worn-out joints and a damaged heart. She was following exactly in his footsteps, working herself into the ground without any real progress. Rage rose within her, not anger at him or at life, but fury at her own powerlessness. She stood abruptly and walked outside into the cold morning air. It was barely 5 a.m. The hospital parking lot was nearly empty. A few nurses were changing shifts. The sky was transitioning from black to deep blue, stars still visible in the west. Standing there in the pre-dawn stillness, something shifted inside Maria. A determination she had never felt before crystallized into a decision. "Never again," she whispered to the emerging morning. "I refuse to live like this anymore. I don't care how difficult it becomes. I will find my way forward." On the bus back to the city that afternoon, Maria noticed something that would alter everything. Seated 2 rows ahead was a woman she recognized, Ms. Rivera, a respected architect who owned a prominent firm downtown. Maria had seen her featured in the local newspaper. What puzzled Maria was the timing. It was 2 p.m. on a weekday. Why would a successful professional be on a regular public bus in the middle of the afternoon? Ms. Rivera sat calmly, reading through documents, completely composed. Maria gathered her courage and moved to the empty seat beside her. "Excuse me, Ms. Rivera. I apologize for interrupting, but may I ask why you're traveling at this hour? Don't you have your office to run?" Ms. Rivera looked up with kind, intelligent eyes. "I do, but I finished my most critical work hours ago. I leave my office at 1 p.m. every day. I run my business from 5 a.m. to 1 p.m., 8 focused hours. That's all I need." 5 in the morning? Maria couldn't hide her shock. 4:30, actually. I wake at 4:30 every single morning, without exception. By the time most people are starting their workday at 9 a.m., I've already completed 5 hours of deep and uninterrupted work. I've found that those early hours, when the world is silent, are worth double any other time of day. Ms. Rivera studied Maria's exhausted expression. "You work nights, don't you?" "Yes, convenience store, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. "And you sleep when?" 7 in the morning until late afternoon, usually around 5 p.m. Ms. Rivera nodded with understanding. "So, you're living in the world's shadow, awake when others sleep, sleeping when the world is most alive. No wonder you look trapped." She set down her documents and turned fully toward Maria. "Let me share something that rescued my life 25 years ago. when I was in a position not unlike yours. The hours from 4 a.m. to 6 a.m., those 2 hours are the most powerful hours available to any human being. While everyone else is unconscious, you can construct the future you want. Those hours are your secret advantage. Maria felt a flicker of something dangerous, hope. But how is that possible? I work until 6 a.m. My body needs sleep. Then restructure your sleep. Get home at 6:30. Sleep immediately. Wake at noon. That gives you 5.5 hours, enough for your body to function. Then you have the afternoon to live like a normal person, to learn, to grow, to build. And eventually, when you can transition to day work, you maintain the 4:30 wake up permanently. That becomes your foundation. Ms. Rivera reached into her bag and pulled out a business card. I'm going to make you an offer. If you're genuinely serious about transforming your life, call me. I'll mentor you through exactly how to use those morning hours. But I only work with people who demonstrate real commitment because this requires a level of discipline that most people simply don't possess. The bus pulled up to Maria's stop. She clutched the card like a lifeline. I'll call you. I promise I'm serious. We'll see, Ms. Rivera said with a slight smile. Everyone claims they're serious. Very few actually are. 3 days later, Maria sat across from Ms. Rivera at a quiet coffee shop at 11 a.m. For the first time in years, Maria was awake and alert during midday on a weekday, having restructured her sleep as instructed. Ms. Rivera observed her approvingly. You modified your sleep pattern already. Excellent. Most people would still be talking about doing it. You actually did it. That tells me you might have what this requires. She opened a leather notebook and began drawing. So, Maria, think of your life as a building. Currently, your building is unstable and deteriorating. Why? Because you've never invested in the foundation. You're in pure survival mode, treading water. She sketched a simple building structure. The hours from 4 a.m. to 6 a.m., these are your foundation building hours. While the rest of humanity is asleep or just starting to wake, you're laying bricks for your future. 2 hours every morning equals 14 hours weekly, 60 hours monthly, 730 hours yearly. She wrote the calculations clearly. That's equivalent to 91 complete 8-hour workdays. From morning hours alone, you gain 3 full months annually that everyone else loses to sleep. 3 months to build skills, knowledge, and capabilities. Maria's eyes widened at the numbers. Here's your exact system, Ms. Rivera continued. This isn't optional. This is the formula. First hour, 4:30 to 5:30 a.m. Skill acquisition. You dedicate this hour to learning something that will directly improve your economic position. Not entertainment, not social media, not random browsing, focused learning, a technical skill, software proficiency, language, professional certification. Online resources are abundant and free. You have 0 excuses. Second hour, 5:30 to 6:30 a.m. Physical and mental strengthening. 30 minutes for movement. Walk, run, yoga, body weight exercises. Your body is your instrument. If it fails, everything fails. The remaining 30 minutes for reading, reflection, or applying what you learned in hour 1. Planning your day. Journaling your progress. Maria scribbled notes on a napkin, her hand barely keeping pace with Ms. Rivera's words. The 3 non-negotiable rules, Ms. Rivera said firmly. First rule, you wake at 4:30 a.m. every day without exception, including weekends, including holidays. No, just this once I'll skip. That's the path to failure. Second rule, you're in bed by 10 p.m. You cannot cheat sleep and win. Your body requires rest, but you control the timing. Third rule, the first 10 days will feel impossible. Your body will rebel. Your mind will generate endless excuses. You push through anyway. After 3 weeks, it becomes routine. After 90 days, it becomes identity. Ms. Rivera looked at Maria with complete seriousness. I'm giving you 90 days, 3 months of waking at 4:30, building skills in hour 1, building yourself in hour 2. At the end of 90 days, come back and show me what you've created. If you've done the actual work, and I'll help you get a position at my firm or somewhere comparable. If you quit, don't contact me. I only invest in people who follow through when things get difficult. The weight of the challenge pressed down on Maria, but simultaneously, for the first time in years, she felt something electric. Purpose. I'll do this. I won't quit. Everyone says that, Ms. Rivera replied with knowing eyes. We'll discover if you mean it. The following morning, Maria's alarm erupted at 4:30 a.m. Every cell in her body screamed in protest. Her mind immediately began negotiating. Just one more hour. You're so exhausted. You need proper rest. But she thought of her father in that hospital bed, Ms. Rivera's challenge, her own promise. She forced herself upright and stumbled to the sink, splashing cold water on her face. The first week was brutal. Maria dragged herself awake each morning, her body feeling like lead, her eyes burning from lack of sleep. At 4:30 a.m., while darkness still blanketed the city, she sat at her plastic table with her phone, watching free graphic design tutorials on YouTube. She'd chosen design because she'd always had creative ability, but never developed it. Her concentration wavered constantly, but she refused to stop. At 5:30 a.m., she forced herself down the 4 flights of stairs and around her neighborhood for 30 minutes, regardless of weather. Then she returned to read articles about design principles and practice simple exercises. By 7 a.m., she went straight to bed, sleeping until 1 p.m., which gave her time to prepare and eat before her shift. The routine repeated endlessly. It was exhausting. It was isolating. Nobody understood her new schedule or why she'd voluntarily wake so early. But something remarkable happened around day 18. One morning, Maria woke at 4:27 a.m., 3 minutes before her alarm sounded. Her body had adjusted, and for the first time, she didn't feel resentment toward the morning. She felt anticipation. The design tutorials began making complete sense. She was mastering color theory, typography basics, layout principles, and software tools. She completed her first online certification. Her morning walks transformed from obligation to sanctuary. Watching the city wake up, the quiet streets, the gradually lightening sky, the feeling that while millions slept, she was constructing something valuable. By the end of the second month, Maria had completed 4 comprehensive design courses. She'd created a basic portfolio. She'd lost weight from the consistent walking. Her mind felt clearer than it had in years. Her confidence grew visibly. Even her coworkers noticed the change. Maria, you seem different lately, more energized. What's happening with you? She smiled. I'm rebuilding my life 2 hours at a time. In the 3rd month, Maria began applying her new skills practically. She redesigned the promotional flyers for her store, creating professional-looking materials instead of the amateur clip art they had been using. She showed them to her manager. The manager was genuinely impressed. Maria, where did you learn to do this? I wake up at 4:30 every morning and teach myself. Word traveled up the management chain. On day 84 of Maria's early morning journey, the regional manager called her. Maria, our marketing department needs a junior designer who understands retail operations from the ground level. We think you'd be perfect. Day shift, triple your current pay, benefits included. Interested? Maria stood speechless. 12 weeks ago, she was a hopeless convenience store clerk. Now she was being offered a professional position. When can I start? She managed to ask. 2 weeks. That evening, Maria called Ms. Rivera. Ms. Rivera, I did it. 84 days without missing a single 4:30 wake up. And today, I received a job offer. A real career. There was a pause, then Ms. Rivera's voice warm with pride. I knew when I met you that you had something different. Now remember this forever. Don't abandon the 4:30 wake up. This isn't a temporary tactic. This is who you are now. I know. This is my life now. Closing call to action, 900 words. 18 months later, Maria had advanced to senior designer at a major retail corporation. She'd saved enough to move her father to the city, get him quality health care, and rent a comfortable 2-bedroom apartment. Every morning at 4:30 a.m., she still rose, not from obligation, but because those 2 hours were sacred. That's when she worked on freelance projects, studied marketing strategy, and planned her long-term goals. Her colleagues would ask, "Maria, why do you still wake up so early? You've already made it." She would smile and reply, "Success isn't a destination you reach and then stop. It's a daily practice, and mine starts at 4:30 a.m." My friend, Maria's journey is living proof of something extraordinary. Your life can transform completely. Not someday. Oh, not when conditions improve. Right now. Starting tomorrow morning at 4:30 a.m. Here's what most people fundamentally misunderstand. The gap between where you currently exist and where you want to be isn't about talent. It isn't about luck. It isn't even about working hard. It's about how you utilize the time when everyone else is unconscious. Between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m., the world is silent. No phone calls interrupting. No meetings demanding attention. No distractions pulling you away. Your willpower is at maximum strength. Your mind is at peak freshness. This is when you perform the work that changes your trajectory. Successful people understand this deeply. That's why executives, athletes, entrepreneurs, and leaders rise early. Not because they're superhuman, because they recognize that winning the morning means winning the day. And winning the day consistently means winning at life. So here's your challenge. The identical challenge Ms. Rivera gave Maria. Step 1. Tonight, set your alarm for 4:30 a.m. Not 4:45, not 5 o'clock, exactly 4:30 a.m. Place your phone across the room, so you must physically stand up to silence it. Step 2. Decide what you'll build in your first hour. One skill you need for economic advancement. One course. One certification. One business idea. Choose one thing, commit to it for 90 days. Step 3. Protect your 10 p.m. bedtime religiously. You cannot wake early while sleeping late. Stop the Netflix binges. End the mindless scrolling. Sleep isn't your enemy. Wasted evenings are your enemy. I guarantee you this. If you wake at 4:30 a.m. every single day for 90 days and use those 2 hours with intention, your life will be unrecognizable. Yet you might not become wealthy overnight. You might not get promoted immediately, but you will become someone fundamentally different, stronger, more disciplined, more capable, and that version of you can achieve anything. Maria started with nothing. No degree, no connections, no resources, just a choice to wake early and build. You have more advantages than she did. You're watching this video, which means you have internet access, educational resources, and opportunity at your fingertips. The only question that matters is, will you use it? Or will you hit snooze tomorrow and wonder 5 years from now why nothing in your life changed? If you're ready to join the 4:30 a.m. revolution, hit that like button right now as your public commitment. Then leave a comment telling me exactly what you'll build in your first hour tomorrow. Let's create accountability together. I'll be reading every single comment. Share this video with someone who constantly talks about changing but never takes action. Maybe this is the catalyst they need to finally begin. And subscribe to this channel because every week I bring you real stories of people who completely transformed their lives and the exact strategies they used to do it. Remember Maria's words, success isn't a destination, it's a daily practice. And that practice begins tomorrow at 4:30 a.m. Will you be awake? Your future self is waiting on the other side of that alarm clock. Don't make them wait another day.